Hey guys, Stealth here. In this video we're following Flashpoint and he's using a very interesting deck. It's a deck you don't see very often. It's a Blue Dragon's armored deck. Now I have played around with this deck every once in a while, mostly versus AI, because I just couldn't get it really to work versus other players. The Blue Dragons have some amazing tanks in there, like, and you see it here, the Kiyomaru Shiki, which is I believe one of the Japanese high-end tanks. But one of the problems that I found with the Blue Dragons Armored is that they do run out of fuel. Faster it seems than most other nations. Otherwise they do not have a ton of armor. Some of the higher end tanks do, but most of those tanks are not that heavily armored, and I'm looking at the Nanayon Shiki line. So let's have a look at how Flashpoint is going to operate in this map. From what he sent me in his description, he said, I really like this game because of the comeback we made after losing the key town in the first point sector. We were sure we were going to lose after that, but in the end we pulled through and won. So this is going to be very interesting. It's a conquest game, and I think that the town that they meant might be this one, next to hotel. You also got some towns in Delta and Gulf, of course, but this one is contested heavily most of the time because it's right between Echo and Hotel. If you got this town, you have a very good foothold of the middle area here, and you can push either side. So for both parties it's very interesting to have this side. Now let's have a look what he's going with. We got some Kiyomaru Shiki tanks, some AA infantry, 2 recon units, of course very important. One Mitsubishi CV, and over here he has K1A1s, recoilless rifles, wow, interesting, okay, and a couple of IFVs with infantry packed inside. So let's see. Over here he has a couple of Humvees. Those are manned by Akula, Chaparrals, Blackhawks, longbows of course. And these are Gepards with M113AGs, if I got that right. So probably a Eurocore deck. Yeah, this was to be expected. A heavy Russian opening using Mi-24Vs and a very aggressive push here. Now, as you know, Conquest is quite a bit different from Destruction. You can pretty much lose as many forces as you like, and that completely changes the game from Destruction, where you gotta be sure not to lose a lot of forces, but in here you can just build up a large push and keep going and going and going. It seems that Redfor has gone completely ballistic on this area. These are forces by Alexander. We got 40 Spetsnaz here who are wiping out all the Fallschirmjäger. BTR coming in, Spetsnaz GRU. Yeah, I see what they mean by losing this side. So far Flashpoint himself isn't in contact yet. He's deployed some recon infantry in here, very good cover. The problem in this area is always trying to spot beyond this forest, because this is a large blob. And if you were to look at it from the Suzak Days perspective, they can see up to this forest but not beyond it, and that becomes an increasingly large field that they cannot overwatch. Now the Kiyomaru Shiki is one of the high-end tanks, 170 points. Interestingly, it is not a prototype, and that makes it a bit more accessible. You can even get this tank if you were running, for example, with a general NATO deck, although those right now aren't that suitable anymore. They don't, however, have the most armor, 20 points, and they're being countered by a Twardy and 1 or 2 Modernas, I think it were. So Carol's over here is pushing very hard at these heavy tanks, and he's losing quite a few forces. Now let's see. Redfor is leading by a lot of points. I'm not sure where all of those CVs went. I'm thinking that they just didn't have any CVs in hotel. They got one command infantry there, which are not in cover, I might add. Yeah, this is not a good start. But, according to the description, all is going to be well, and he's just going to push through. This thing is definitely trying to get a couple of shots at these heavy tanks, but the Patriots will have none of that. They heavily damaged this plane. Now, another unit's coming in. Kiyomaru-shiki, another one of those heavy tanks. And if you have a look at it, you could recognize the shape of the Leopard. Leopard 2A4 to be precise. And that's exactly what it is. It has just a bit more rate of fire. And maybe some more armor. I don't know how much frontal armor the Leopard 2A4 has by heart, but I think it's somewhere in the same range as this one. But the autoloader on this tank, the 12 rounds a minute it can pump out, means that it is very, very lethal to most vehicles and tanks. It just has to be a bit careful when dealing with other tanks, because it's not the best frontal armor on that vehicle. K1A1 manages to get a shot at a Moderna, but I think he's going in reverse. Yeah, so these guys have the best of their armor aimed forward. And he might be luring this K1A1 into a trap. Excellent way of pushing up here by Flashpoint. He has all of his assets nearby. Recon infantry, tanks and AA units, although they're only Mistrals. Maybe he's going to push in with some more forces here. I already see a Nanoyon Shikiji coming up. Having a Hawk over here, of course the Patriots are here already, but having a Hawk over here would definitely aid in the anti-air defense. Redfor is leading by a lot of points by now. They're at 70 points ahead. And that is mostly to Bluefor not capping these areas early on. They did manage, they did go for a very, very aggressive push into this area. And unfortunately, Alexander had a ton of Spetsnaz and a ton of vehicles who were pushing them out very, very quickly. K1A1 manages to get a flank shot on this tank, and this tank just has nowhere to go. There you go. Now please get this thing into cover, because it's pretty pricey. It's a 150 pointer. And the interesting thing about this that this tank is a 150 point tank, but it's a prototype. Kiyomaru-shiki is not a prototype, but it's a more expensive tank. Now of course you have this a lot more in the game, but the K1A1 is the heaviest tank that South Korea has to offer. So on that flank or that end, it's a bit interesting that this thing is a prototype and this thing isn't. The difference between these two tanks isn't that big. This thing has a bit more EP power, I believe, 22 versus, no, 22, same thing. The problem with the K1A1 is that it only has 18 frontal armor, and that means that especially the heavy end, well, pretty much all of the Redfor heavy end tanks, so Modernas, Twardies, T90s, stuff like that, they can all punch through this armor pretty easily. Doing some forced recon here with the Hachikiyoshiki. I'm not entirely sure why though, because those things have an autocannon that could be very useful if the enemy decides to push up with infantry here. A lot of more reinforcements are coming up, more Nana-Senshikis with AA infantry, a lot more of these recoilless rifles, and this is interesting because I rarely use these things. They do have a couple of or actually a lot of points of AP power, 15, quite a bit of accuracy really, and even capability of firing HE at infantry. So they're good units all round. Now Eurocorps over here is getting their ass handed to them, mostly down to the fact that they don't have any AA, so they cannot take down this chopper. And I think that the Leopard's been spotted. It's trying to get back into cover. Akula helps out and brings in a chaparral. Some skirmishing going on here, and this is exactly what I meant. You can have I believe it's the Hachi Nanshiki that was killed here earlier. Having that thing over here would have been a major asset to deal with that infantry. Also, this is trouble. He does score a hit on it. Patriots miss. And this is going to be one big barbecue party with the infantry right in the middle. Yeah, these guys are burning up a lot. He is trying to fire with his artillery. He has, let's see where to go, right over here. 2 mortars over here to push on this infantry. These guys have made it out of the flames, but they're not safe yet. Redfor is now ahead by as much as 10 times the points that Bluefor has. So again, it's not looking good over here. But if they can put a CV in here, which they still haven't done, I don't understand that. It's coming in now. And they can put a CV in here. They can actually start building up some points. PSAM over here, which is pretty much their version of the Stinger, takes a couple of shots at the K-29TB. Takes it down. Bit of revenge for the forces over here that got hit very, very hard by that helicopter. KAV 4050s, 90s are coming in, so more recon units. Here's their CV, and now they don't have an advantage anymore. This is probably the start of Bluefor turning things around, where with this Mitsubishi CV and Foxtrot they're actually ahead by command zones, so they're going to be having a little bit more points. Got a Moderna over here, full health. So that's something you want to take down as quickly as possible. More units are coming in. Those are the KAVs and the KAV-90. His line is very, very solid. He has tanks. Some of them though, not that many. The Nanayon Shikijis are pushing up to this side to help out with his infantry. These things are armed with a grenade launcher. Not many tanks have this. Maybe they're unique in this role, I don't know, but I really like these, especially when dealing against infantry. Problem? Not a lot of armor, only 8. So a very, very good, solid setup here by Flashpoint. This this is a bit unfortunate. These Ranzus are not especially known for their mobility. They got an autonomy of 250. And they just ran out of fuel. But the fact that they can sit here and not take any fire is interesting. Because it means that there might not be that many enemy units over here. Let's see if I'm right. Yeah, they got some BTRs, some Plamias, but most of all they've dug into this town. 2 groups of Concours, T-72B1, T-72S is coming in. And, ooh, did he see that yet? Yeah, he saw it. Peace Pheasant does a run at it, but you can see that even with the high AP power Mavericks on this thing, 26, I think he hit at least 2 of those. This thing is still coming. It is not even panicked, it's only, well, it's worried. I mean, it took a lot of heavy damage to that tank. He's cleverly turned off the AA weaponry. Very, very good play here. And hopefully this thing is going to back off in reverse. Yeah, they managed to kill it, probably with the Nanayon Shikijis. You can see that these things already are running out of fuel. They have an autonomy of 400, which for a tank isn't very high. Especially not if you're used to playing Redfor, for example, and you got used to the 700 kilometer mobility on the T-72s. Now, this looks like rocket spam. Probably a Smirch or something of that variety. He's trying to do a lot of damage versus those units in here. Not any success really. They're panicked, but they really haven't taken any damage. Another mortar is coming in. He's refueled his Chugata cargoes with the CH-47D he has over here. And apparently he did not go with a fob. So with an armored deck, this is something that you can consider. Not going with a fob, because as an armored deck you're always going to be moving forward. You don't want to have to micromanage Chinooks or to get the cargoes to go back to your fob all the way over here, and then have to wait a 15-minute time before they get back to the front line. So an interesting choice. Actually, he might have a CV or a fob in this deck, but he hasn't deployed it so that he could deploy a bit more forces. I haven't checked his deck code yet, but that might be the case. Now over here they have pushed a command unit from Redfor into this side, because there is a Bluefor command unit in here. So I'm very curious to see what exactly this is. And it's command infantry on this side. Of course that's one of the only sides where it could be, because they have most of the control of this forest. Not for long anyway. 272 BUs are coming in, B1s, Bs, BMP 1Ds. So unless he gets help right away, this party's over. Peace Pheasant scores a kill on one of those heavy tanks. The 272 BU goes down. You can see the Redfor did not respond at all with AA. That means that this is their cue to come in with helicopters and thunderbolts and whatever else they can muster. Come on, Thunderbolt, get it down. No. Another A-10 comes in, tries to get a number on the tank, and I think he hit him but didn't kill him. But that Thunderbolt took him out. So very good response on repelling this push, because this could have been very problematic. The plane gets shot down. He has a Hawk over here. Patriots have been refueled and rearmed and are now pushing a little bit to the left. I'm not entirely sure why though. Syria comes in and probably, there you go, kills one M1 IP and pays with it dearly by the Patriots, which are shooting it down. And unfortunately it seems that Redfor did manage to take down the command infantry over there. Might have been that artillery barrage, not entirely sure, but I don't think they're going to have a lot of forces defending their command infantry. So they're probably just hoping not to get found out. Two groups of V-150, I was expecting SEALs to be in that. Peace Pheasant barely makes it out. And after the push by Redfor, he is now pushing back, and keep in mind this is Tressa and Akula. There's two players pushing on this flank. They got two players as well. They got Alexander and Caroliz. So this is pretty much a 2-on-2 over here, with some units guarding the right flank, both by Flashpoint and by Kula, but not really a lot going on here. The grasp on Foxtrot is definitely very solid. Very good setup here. He's relocating his CV in order not to have it shot down by artillery. This OH-6 is not impressed by the barrage, although it could have been hit there. These Ranzers are finally taking fire. And I think he made the right call in not going with supply trucks to get those things out, because they're not worth it. The resupply effort would be more expensive than actually bringing in a couple of new Renzus. Patriots are scoring kill after kill after kill. Took down a seed plane, so he had to micromanage those. But, or actually I'm not sure that he did, because he lost one Patriot. Thunderbolts take down the Tunguska. Very ballsy move by Akula. And by now they're gaining a foothold in this town themselves. And considering that they find a lot of these Ural trucks here who are not empty and that they cannot capture, that means that there are some other forces still operating in this town. Now, Flashpoint is having to micromanage, or having to manage a large front now. He has one K1, some infantry over there, some units pushing up from his center. He has Foxtrot under his control and most of the right side. So he is really spread out attention-wise. Score-wise, Redfor is still leading by a lot of points. They got a 120 point advantage, which would mean this is probably going to be either a total victory or a major victory, if they would leave it at this. But if NATO can bring in another command vehicle over here quickly, then they can deploy that and get a little bit more point income again. Now they're capturing supply trucks. MiG-27 comes in. Let's see, Patriot does manage to get a shot at it, but not a kill. But the Pip, or the Eyehawk, did manage to take it down. So well done there. That's another plane down. Now you can see that the players on the other team are definitely experienced guys, because they were using an artillery strike first before they came in with these MZTM MTLBs. So this is probably carrying infantry, or it might be a force recon push. But I think that that comes, yeah, there's infantry inside, motor chutes to be exact. You can see that the grenade launchers are very quickly decimating these infantry groups. They're clearly doing a heavy push onto Foxtrot now, because they also got Jaguars, T-72S high-end tanks. So hopefully those Thunderbolts are ready and that they can land a hand again, because these things are pretty nasty. You don't want to get these things up close. Peace Pheasant comes in. Another plane right after it, another Peace Rhine. Another OT-62 got taken down. Very good shot by that thing. And he scores another hit on that T-72S. Peace Rhine kills it. And that decimates pretty much most of their forces. But they've lost the infantry that they had in this forest. And that means that they've got to either reinforce it with these Sochang-Sus, or pull back slightly and then force their way back in. Now over here they managed to find the command infantry, and this is very interesting. If they can capture this area, which is being captured by the Dornier 205 with the command infantry, and this side, see, now they're leading by 1. They might be leading by 2 or even 3 if they manage to capture this zone. But I think that consolidating this town first is the better option. 3 Jaguars versus 3 infantry groups is not a good deal for the infantry. And they're trying to get the hell away from there. The IFVs over here take down one of the helicopters, and they're working on the KA-52. If that thing stays there for too long, they might actually get it too. Come on. No, they're going after the Morskayas now. Redfor is quick to retake this area. I wonder what they brought in. Yeah, another group of command infantry right there. But otherwise they don't have a lot over here. They got a T-72 BU, so super high-end. VDVs, BMDs, and Thunderbolt did manage to score a hit on the... No, actually they scored a hit on the BMD-2. Nothing else just yet. Gotta say, I think this is a very exciting match. There's a lot going on. And these players are clearly matched. It's not something that's going to end into a total victory. It's not something that's going to end into a total defeat for the other side, of course. These guys are definitely clearly matched. And that makes for some very interesting gameplay. Now, I'm not entirely sure what was able to spot this command infantry. But that is some good spotting capability. I would think it was a helicopter. Let's see if they take down this Su-27. Patriot fires again, takes down the Su-27. Artillery immediately opens fire on the command infantry. We take a big hit, and NATO is leading by 2. Well done, NATO. T-72 PU's trying to get out. Stunned. Yeah, I think he's going to make it out. And now they're forcing their way into the next zone. Even an LAVC2 is coming up. Unfortunately, they lost their CV in India. That is why they don't have an income advantage anymore. But if they can put the CV to work here, they can get that income back up to the 1. And they're starting to bridge the gap between those two scores. Flashpoint immediately brought in a new CV over here, Mitsubishi CV, so that he can recapture India. And over here there's not a lot going on now. I'm not sure those Jaguars are still in there. Yep, they are. 3 Jaguars and a couple of motor Schutzen. But it's a bit of a standoff here, because the infantry cannot move in and the tanks cannot move out. That is, until the infantry gets some backup. Hachi Kiyoshikis are coming in with a KAV-90 recon vehicle. And now Flashpoint has had enough of his unwelcome visitors here, and he's probably going to kick them out. In a situation like this, I would also put my Peace Pheasant on standby, having it circle somewhere over this town, so that the moment those tanks get spotted, I can unleash the ATGMs from that Peace Pheasant. Do a lot of damage to it. Over here they got another T-72BU. Or actually no, I think I already spotted that one, never mind. ECR goes after AA, takes it down. Peace Rhine was probably not able to take down the T-72BU, but they have captured this region. Or actually, what's going on? Oh, sorry, they recaptured India but lost control over Echo. And since no one's controlling Echo, Redfor is not getting any income. And they are now at 135. Over here he's working with smoke to get very, very close to the Jaguars before taking them out with these Hachi Kiyoshikis. So again, very, very well played by Flashpoint. This is exactly how you use smoke and how you can kick out a lot of those tanks using pretty much low-end vehicles. Unfortunately, the T-72 Jaguars take out quite a bit here. Kiyomarishiki comes in again, running low on fuel, as with most of the Blue Dragon's tanks that they got. Now I'm not sure if the KAV-4050 is the right target or the right unit to use here, because it only has a grenade launcher. That can panic that unit, but not really kill it. It does, however, give the enemy a bit of a different target to shoot at. And now that the Redfor forces are dead here, he's napalming the entire area, so that Flashpoint has to retreat these forces before they get burned up. Again, Redfor manages to take out the CV and hotel. Probably thanks to their cluster artillery, mostly. But the gap is only 20 to 30 points now, and they're closing it pretty quickly. It seems that they're putting up another smoke screen. I'm not entirely sure why though. Because the napalm smoke should already conceal a lot of the forces that he's trying to retreat here. Wow. Fernspeyer is doing a good job here. This is just very, very inviting to take artillery fire. Let's see if he's going to respond in time. Flashpoint might not have seen it yet. Where's this Dornier not being offloaded? This could have given them more income. Yeah, here's the artillery. Tressa has spotted it. Oh look, that's a nice seed target. And puts a lot of fire onto the BRDM-2. Couple of good hits there. And he's probably going to kill it. Yeah, there you go. However, since Bluefor has lost control of India and Hotel, they are now losing points, or they were, for a short amount. And there you go, +2. Again, Bluefor is quickly bridging the gap. Now the game is going to last for 8 more minutes. The countdown timer says 12. So I'm thinking that they're either going to capture a lot more terrain and get their income up faster so they can get to the 500 points. Or that Redfor is going to lose a couple more CVs. We're getting some alerted shouts here by probably the Sochong Sus who are burning up. Yeah, we know. I might be trying to flank over here. What's this? Let's have a look. No idea what that chopper's doing. But he did deploy Spetsnaz VMF. And they have not been spotted yet. Navy SEALs are not in cover, but they do have very good stealth ratings. Still, I think that the Spetsnaz VMF is going to spot them before they spot the SEALs. Or sorry, that the Spetsnaz is going to spot the SEALs before the SEALs spot them. Try saying that 10 times fast. Bluefor is leading. 213 versus 189. And I'm not sure what Alexander is doing now, but it seems that he's dropping the ball here. This is a Mars strike. I'm not sure. Yeah, here it is. 2 Mars batteries from Tressa have opened fire. And they managed to kill a couple of Taurs and probably 1 Tunguska. Now Bluefor, I'm not sure if they're blind firing this area or if they know that there's a CV there, because yeah, they're just blind firing it. The CV is in fact right in the middle of town. And this is usually where you can see the difference between Bluefor and Redfor. Redfor has a lot of cluster munitions that they can deploy, so a lot of cluster artillery, and with that they are, you could say, at an advantage of trying to spot or trying to kill vehicles like command vehicles. Bluefor unfortunately does not have that advantage. They do have the Mars, they do have some of the M270s who can fire HE, but still it's not quite the same as the Smerches and the BM70s that Redfor gets. Redfor has managed to recapture this zone, although they cannot really have a secure position here now. Navy SEALs took some sniper fire, as I was expecting. And they're just doing a random artillery bombardment on this town. Of course, a very safe assumption that there's a ton of forces in this town. And over on the right side, Flashpoint is pushing in. I should switch to Flashpoint. He's coming in with a lot of Renzus, who are of course running out of fuel. Had Shiki, but I think there was just a bit of force recon. See what they had in there. And that was not a lot. Renzus are trying to get aim, but he doesn't have any recon over here. That would be very helpful. He's smoking out his own Renzus, providing a smokescreen cover for them. And I'm not entirely sure why. Trying to get mortar shots at these helicopters. If they can neutralize this zone, they're going to push their income up a bit higher. And considering that this is a +2 income zone, if they can neutralize this, they can really crank up their point income. Now I think that since we only have 4 minutes left, I don't think they're going to get to 500 with their 1 point income. So it's probable that Redfor is just going to surrender. Now this, you can see again, is the difference between destruction and conquest. A conquest, it doesn't cost you anything to lose units. And if you lose units, of course, it's annoying. You gotta replace them with other units, but otherwise it's not that bad. And he can just keep pushing force after force out to make sure that he can kill whatever's in this town. A lot of grenade launchers. Combined with Ranzus, one of those IFVs. No tanks. You don't really need tanks in a forest or in an urban area like that. And they've spotted a CV over there, which is not doing anything right now. Plane comes in, 2 planes. By the looks of that, that could very well be a bomber. Quite the dangerous bomber, I might add. Doing a cluster bomb, sorry, a large bombing run. Wiping out a lot of forces. Wow, that hurt. Sneaky, sneaky attack here by Karolis, but he got spotted, fortunately. I think that this setup could have been dispersed by now, though. 20 Navy SEALs, have one group in there if you really want to have recon. Get the other group in the mountains, preferably with some manpads. They have a 2-point income, and I think Redfor is just going to give up. No one has quit yet, but I just don't see them winning this anymore. Spetsnaz versus infantry, although the infantry are backed up by grenade launchers. So the infantry is likely to win this, but they gotta move from that position because they're being mortared. T-80 another expensive tank by Alexander. I'm eager to see what kind of deck he's using. Unfortunately, I of course don't have his deck code, but he has T-72 BUs, T-80 UMs, very, very expensive stuff, every single unit. Karolis surrenders. As I had expected, really. There was just no other way that this game is going to end. Or at least not in time, that is. So all in all, a very, very good gameplay by Flashpoint and his team members. Tressa and Akula all played very well, and I would not be surprised if these guys were on TeamSpeak together. Because the level of coordination that they've shown, the level of support, is something that you don't often see in a game like this. Now we can see that they all maintained a positive ratio. Akula has a very good ratio. Flashpoint, again, a lot of kills, not that many losses. And we got Tressa over here who also has a positive ratio. There are not a lot of things in this battle that I think could have gone better than they did. He had recon, he had a good mix of AA anti-tank capability. So he had a bit of everything. And I think that they're coming back from that main defeat in the town early on in the match was very, very nice to watch. I hope you had fun too. If you did, please like this video and share it with your friends. If you want to see more of my videos, subscribe to my channel, and if you want to have me to look, if you want me to have a look at your replay, just send it to me via my website. Link to it is in the description below, and I'll see if I can have a good video about your gameplay. Just make sure that the better the description that you send me, the more interesting the gameplay is for me to describe, and the more interesting the replay is for me to watch. So, again, thanks for watching. I hope you have a good time playing Wargame or whatever else you're playing, and I'll see you in the next video.